Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. Oh my goodness. We are about to announce who the winner is of Season 3 Quarantine Island. Once we do that, we will then roll our intro video again, and we will go right into the reunion. Again, before I read the votes, I just want to say congratulations to Jake, Aaron, and Casey for making it this far. It is not easy. Especially when there's not $1 million on the line. And I so appreciate you guys for doing this game, joining this game, giving it your all. And I hope you're all proud of yourselves for making it this far. So without further ado, I'm going to read the votes after I turn off, I think this is Emily's husband again, turn off his video. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you do want to see your name written down. Oh, hi, Molly Soroka. You do want to see your name written down. That will decide the winner. Here we go. Okay, first vote, Aaron. That's 1 vote, Aaron. Second vote, Aaron. That's 2 votes, Aaron. Third vote, Jake. That's 1 vote, Jake, 2 for Aaron. Fourth vote, Aaron. That's 3 for Aaron, 1 for Jake. Next vote, Aaron. That's 4 for Aaron, 1 for Jake. Next vote, Aaron. That's 5 for Aaron, 1 for Jake. Next vote, Aaron. That's 6 for Aaron, 1 for Jake. And the last vote is Aaron. Aaron, congratulations. You have won Season 3 Quarantine Island. Congrats to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Aaron, do you have anything you want to say before you will be receiving, you know, a huge check at your door any minute now. But is there anything you want to say before I dive into more questions and whatnot?
I just want to thank everyone so much for being a part of this experience with me. I truly came into this just like wanting to have a good time and like, you know, meet some new people and try something that made me feel incredibly uncomfortable. And it was an experience I learned so much from, and so much from all of you. And I know you guys all thought we were a bunch of rats, but none of you snakes made it to the end. So thanks for crowning me. I'm so happy and very thankful. Thank you.
Congratulations again. I'm gonna roll right into this intro video, and then we'll begin our reunion. I'm gonna ask some questions to Aaron, who has just won, and we will go from there. I keep trying to turn off this person's video. Swebs, please turn off your video also. Okay, great. Here we go. Let me do this. any questions to Aaron, we have to start with the number one question that has been asked by the producers and the fans since day one. Jake, Why the fuck did you have that poster in your intro video?
I forgot that it was going to be shown to all of us at the beginning. I thought it was something that was going to come out post Instagram block. So as soon as you started playing it, I knew that I was going to be in trouble.
And you didn't own it, right? I believe you said it was for your mom.
No, I made up some fucking lie about my mom. Yeah, it being for my mom, but that was a panic move.
Do you wish that you had owned it from the beginning?
No, because I ended up where I am, so I think that one way or another things worked out, and I don't know if it would have been different if I had owned up to it.
Okay, well, thank you for addressing that. So, Aaron, want to begin with you again. Congratulations for winning this season's Quarantine Island. So Myers told us from last season that, is it true that you always win your Survivor like fantasy league that you do?
Thank you so much for bringing this up, Kelsey, because this is actually the thing I'm most proud of in my whole entire life, besides now this, is that I have beat Becca Barish, Matt Myers, and Kat Abood 3 seasons in a row. We've been doing it for the last 3 Survivor seasons. I've swept every time I picked the right winner, and yeah, absolutely the highlight of my life.
Did you think that you were gonna win this?
I'll say I was not betting on myself in this one, Kelsey. But I thought I had after my first week, I was like, I'm kind of actually doing what I was trying to do. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe it's going better than I thought. But then that second week, I really thought, you're not good at this, Aaron.
Well, I hope that you came to see that you were, as Marissa and I were browbeating you into last night, that you were strong and capable, because you did not want to own it at one point, but you absolutely killed it and did amazingly. The number one question that fans asked about you is, what is the lighting setup going on in your apartment that affects all your confessional videos?
Yes, I have 3 Philips Hue colored light bulbs, and it's a lighting system I absolutely believe in, and yeah, it changes the vibe of the room. You can make it however you want, and I had a preset of it was called Mora Mora Sunset that my girlfriend so lovingly saved as a preset, so that I could just put that on and get into my confessionals.
And are you going to use some of the money that you've won to figure out the audio issue with your laptop?
Yeah, this is actually Raina's laptop, because 4 days before this experience, my battery on my computer absolutely crapped out and it no longer turned on. So I will be using maybe some of the money to replace the battery in my computer.
Good, we support that. I have some questions for our other 2 final 3. Jake, so one of the questions that people asked was, we learned from Deanna that you actually didn't tell her about your advantage. Is there a reason why you did not tell her?
Yeah, so I was trying to control as much information about that advantage as possible, and I was just worried that it's not that I didn't trust Deanna, it's just that I figured that if it started and ended with me, it was the most surefire way to breed paranoia on the Mora Mora side going into that final 5, and the only way I was going to make it to final 4 is if they were scared enough to vote for me because they thought I was an idol. So it was just an extra precaution on my part. Sorry, Deanna.
So Deanna is actually the person who voted for you. So clearly she still had your best interest at heart. Another question, just by show of hands from our jury, people wanted to know if Jerry had been on the final 3, how many of you would have voted for Jerry to have won this season? Oh, Charlotte's a maybe. She's not fully convinced. She has some questions she wants you to run through, Jerry.
Depends on the answers, right?
Yeah,
It depends
I don't want
on how
to
you
take it.
done.
Okay, so the other person of our final 3, Casey, who I would love to chat with. Casey, something that I feel was, me personally, I felt was very underrated yesterday in our final banishment and in your conversations with the jury is you literally went to every single banishment ceremony. every single one from day one until the end, and you made it through. So first, I just want to give a round of applause for that, because that is mentally and emotionally very grueling. So Casey, you are someone who also kind of spoke to us about this game being very different once you got into it. What were your expectations before starting the game, and then once you actually started playing the game?
I feel like my expectations were kind of low because I didn't know what I was really getting myself into. So I didn't really know like what the challenges would look like, what the conversations in Slack would look like. So my expectation was more like not intense. Like I kind of thought it would be fun, but I thought I like didn't know all of the intricacies that would go into it. And so yeah, I was definitely overwhelmed at first because I didn't really know what I was getting into.
So, of course, the fans want to know, will you be watching any of the Star Wars movies after this experience?
For sure, no.
Okay. And
Zero interest in that.
Another great question regarding Casey. Jerry, the fans wanted to know, what did you find on Casey's Pinterest?
Oh my! I talked to Aaron about this. Lots of really very, very wholesome pins. We had some furniture pins. We had some hair pins. Some room inspo pins, interior design pins. But the best thing is that we found 69 workout pins.
So we knew she was a physical threat.
Yeah.
The hidden physical threat. Love
Hidden
it.
physical threat.
What, Casey?
How about that? I feel like like you don't want to say that physical is like your greatest strength. So, because like in the chance that like you don't do well, you don't want it to be like, I'm so good and then you're not good. And so I was like, well, I'll just choose a different thing to try to focus on.
Fair enough. So actually, Jerry, that leads me to another great question by show of hands. How many of you guys took to the internet to Google your fellow competitors to see if you could find anything out about them? A decent amount of you. Okay. And the fans famously know that Corey did find Jake's Survivor podcast very early on and knew that Jake was lying about not knowing Survivor, which I very much enjoyed. Corey, when you found that out, did you bring it to Jake, or were you holding on to that information for later?
I was holding on to it. I think I told Emily about it immediately, but we were trying to decide if we wanted to use it to align with Jake or turn people against him. And so we were just kind of like waiting to see what would happen if we lost or what happened at a swap. And then we swapped and then I wasn't able to use it. And I think Emily probably told him that I found it, but.
Fair enough. Oh, Jake, God bless. We really didn't know. The producers, we thought if Verdasa lost right off the bat, you were going home so quick because.
Oh, I'm sure I would have. I absolutely would have been first out. Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to go into some more general questions before we go into specific stuff that fans wanted to know about each of you and bigger game stuff. I want to first welcome Lisa, Gray, Ryan, and Brett for joining us on this reunion here. You guys were big players, big personalities, and we so enjoyed having you. Selfishly wish we could have had you longer. Akash couldn't be with us today. He's not dead. He just can't be with us today. Is that a bad way to phrase it? I'm sorry.
With us in spirit.
With us in spirit. Okay, so some of the questions people had, I'm going to ask Lisa, Gray, Brett, and Ryan first. People wanted to know, had you gotten back into the game, what were your plans going to be? Go ahead, Lisa. Let's hear it.
So the little birdie Ryan would spill everything in Hilton Hotel chat, and so did Corey. It was wonderful. And Corey, I don't know if you took that information and ran with it. I think you did. I know you did. But we were talking in the Hilton Hotel chat and we're like, okay, all this information coming in, we're all just running amok if we go back in. It was great. The goal wasn't even to win the game. Of course we wanted to win the game if we got back, but it was just to shake things up if any of us got back in.
Yeah, it felt like you guys all wanted to be chaos agents when you came back in, which I welcomed with open arms. Ryan, did you have something you also wanted to say?
Well, there's only 2 sleepless nights for me during this game, and one was when the swap happened, and I was like, I'm gonna go home if I don't figure something out. And then the second night was the night before we found out if we were gonna go in, and I had two goals, and I was gonna blow up Charlotte's game so hard because I knew she was like the pin in all of it. And so if I could get everyone to turn against her and then ask her to work with me, I was gonna do that. And then I was gonna try to link up with Chaos Cole because I knew no one trusted him, and I was just gonna use all my Zoom tokens to just talk to him for as long as I could to just be like, bitch, we gotta run this game now.
Great. I imagine you also had vendetta against Charlotte you wanted to pay back?
It's not necessarily.
Wait, not Ryan. Sorry, Gray. So sorry.
I mean, there definitely was like an aspect in my mind where I was just thinking purely revenge. And not even just like against Charlotte, but just kind of against everyone, because I felt like I definitely played like way too hard, way too fast at the beginning. And so I definitely wanted to like completely switch around if I had gone back in how I was playing. And so like Ryan, Corey, and I, as they said, like had kind of discussed all of the information and had come up with plan like A, B, C of what we would do when we went back in.
And Ryan, people were curious because, and we'll dive deeper into this later on, but there was a lot of the discussions of the new Verdasa throwing challenges. And it really seems like that information stemmed from you telling Corey that, and then him running with that. Did you get in depth with like who was planning to do that and who wasn't? Or were you just like, we were throwing it, that's what happened, go forth?
Yeah, no, I didn't give the full details because I had like second layers of reasons why I was throwing it besides just to get those boys apart or
Got
out.
it. Okay. And actually really quick, we do have a little compilation highlight of your guys' videos to get back into the game that we would love to share with the rest of the contestants here.
Hello, Quarantine Familia. So here I am trying to get your vote back into the game. I tried preparing this whole thing and that's not me, so I'm someone who rambles, so here we go.
I really hope you all vote me back in. I just want to meet up with some of my day ones and make some merge moves together. And you don't have to take my word for it. Here are some endorsements from your Survivor faves.
Want to know my thoughts on revenge? Well, they say an eye for an eye will make the world go blind. Good. I not only live in darkness, I was born in it.
I'm a strong competitor, will find immunity, trying to reach my goal of making final 3, and that's the T. My loyalty was my biggest downfall. This time there's no room for a close call or curveball. Every mistake, every indiscretion, I have learned my lesson. I don't have to keep you guessing, I know.
Weren't those so good, guys? We were so impressed. Those were so awesome. Brett, and I just want to clear up because I realize fans might not know, the only reason you didn't film a video to come back in is you were not going to be available yesterday. That's right?
It's the same reason, Kelsey. I got voted out while I was at a gas station. I was on the move. That was my biggest downfall in this game.
And Brett, people were dying to know, who were you referring to in your exit speech when you were like, I knew if I didn't get this person would get me?
It's so funny because I was referring to Ryan, and then I come to find out that Ryan wasn't even the mastermind behind it. He just kind of had to make that move in order for his own game to stay intact. So Ryan, I almost said your name. I'm glad I didn't. I wish I would have said someone else's name because I didn't know what was going on.
So now kind of some general questions to all of you guys. These are what fans wanted to know, and just because there's so many of you, maybe like raise a hand. The first thing people wanted to know was, what was your favorite part of the game? Did you have a favorite part of the game? And if none of you have a favorite part, you're all dead to me. Yes, Lisa.
You know I can talk. I was screaming Corey that idol play with the necklace, I didn't think anybody was going to get that. When I found out about it, I was like, son of a monkey's uncle. But when you did it, Corey, I was literally screaming at my computer. It was a scene. It was a scene. My neighbor texted me.
And off of that, actually, we should just clarify. So first we dropped a clue that Cole got that alluded to the necklace. He did not figure it out. Then we dropped a second clue that was photos alluding to it, and no one figured it out. And then only Corey figured it out. And Corey, you slacked me pretty early on, right? That you had figured out what it was?
Yeah, so Emily had shown me Cole's clue about an hour before the second clue dropped, so I immediately had realized they were the same thing. And I had the blue beads, so I sent you a photo of me in blue beads and a hat, and you said no. And so I remembered that the banishment where I came back in, you were wearing blue beads, so I sent you a photo of you wearing them, and you did not respond. You ignored it completely. And then I said, are you going to make me ask for it like a fool like Adam? And then you ignored it completely.
We just felt like if I said yes, then you don't have dibs on it. We had it. It was a very complex.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why you didn't say anything, but in not saying anything, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. Cool.
I will say, and I think we talked about this on the cat chats, but for anyone who didn't hear, it's truly one of my favorite things ever. Corey said the reason he figured it out is he's become finely attuned to white women wearing beads. And I really appreciated that comment deeply. Did anyone else have a favorite part or favorite moment from this season? Yes, Deanna.
As much as there is questioning whether we won them fair and square, I did enjoy winning all of those pre-merge challenges and not having to go to banishment.
Jake, is yours the same?
No, mine's different. For me, the most fun that I had in this game and the times when I was able to let go of the stress the most were the few nights we had where everybody kind of came together in the main group chat, especially post-merge, and were able to just kind of talk about other things for a while. I think after the auction, we had a big thing like that. After the superlatives, I believe, was a big night of just conversing as people and talking about the things that were going on in our lives and having fun. And those were the best parts of the game for me, I think.
Yes, Allison.
I think for me, and it was easier as the game went on, because I could kind of, the first week for Mora Mora was just constant chaos. So for me, that was the most stressful point. But as time went on, I realized no one else is going to have this experience other than us 16. Our season's different than all previous ones because it's different people. And it's this crazy experience that you guys put together and crafted this amazing, unique event for us. And to me, I just feel no one else is gonna know what that's like except for us. And I was really grateful for it.
Did anyone have, yes, Emily.
My favorite part, hands down, was figuring out clues with other people, because I think my strength is connecting bits and pieces, and working with Jake and Deanna and Cole on a clue was so freaking fun. And then at the day one, Cam and Corey and Gray was fun for a different reason. Just the feeling of we're figuring it out was so awesome.
And off of that, great, you bring me to a great point. Did anyone have a favorite clue or clue they hated the most because they could not figure out what it was? Yes, Cam.
I have two answers. Chicago one, because I was never going to get it. I don't have familiarity with that. And because it tanked my game entirely. And I loved the Moana one because I used to do the cryptogram in the back of the newspaper at my grandmom's house growing up. And we would do word jumbles and then do the cryptogram. It was a cute thing.
I think the Moana one almost drove Jerry into insanity.
It did. I'm telling you, I was sweating. It was absolutely, I zoomed with Charlotte right before I got the connection, because Kelsey, you kept pitching me all these different clues because Cam already got it and you were just giving me.
I was just you're close, closer, you're close.
I was what, is it just a single letter? What am I doing wrong?
And off of that, I also appreciated that even if it had already been claimed, 2 days later, Aaron would send me a video trying to decipher a clue.
I just didn't know if I was going to get in trouble for sending things after 10 p.m. So I would be like, well, I mean, I guess I'll just send it in the morning. I know it's been claimed, but I want my video included in the montage.
They were enjoyable. Another question, general question fans asked, what was something you were nervous about coming into this game, and did it come to fruition? Like, was it something you had to go through? None of you were nervous? Yes, Gray.
I'll go. I was really nervous about the physical challenges. And so that first physical broom challenge, like my hands were sweating, my legs were shaking. I did not think that I was gonna last over 40 minutes. And so that was honestly just a great moment for me to realize that I was like completely underestimating myself, and just for the future, like not to be as nervous about the things that maybe you don't think you're as good at, because you never know unless you try.
And off that physical note, Charlotte, people never got to see it, but in your audition application, you told us that you were practicing doing 30 burpees a day.
Yeah, I had like a little thing for myself. Like I did, once the Final Four challenge happened last season, I knew I wanted to apply. So I did 30 burpees a day every day. And then I also did a slide puzzle, and I did the Tower of Hanoi. And like, I am very good at all three of those things now, and it served me in this game 0%.
Actually, that's not true, because I believe that is one of the challenges you did throw, and you told me you counted how many moves Corey did it perfectly, by the way, which is also insane. But the Tower of Hanoi, you knew how many moves had to go, right? Yeah. Did anyone else have a something that they were nervous about coming into this game? It's fine if you don't. Yes, Cole.
Well, at the start, I was very nervous that the age difference would be something very large, that would be, oh, let's just vote this guy out, he's a lot younger than all of us, or that I wouldn't be able to form bonds or anything. But I think as the time went on, it definitely grew a lot closer to everyone, especially in jury, which let me absolutely roast you, Charlotte. I'm sorry about that, pretty much every day. But it was very fun, and I enjoyed it, and I'm glad I made all these new connections with all these people who think just like me.
And we'll get to our special Cole segment later on that we've built out. Don't you worry. Another question people had, which I think this is such a fun question. I always like thinking about it myself. Who is someone that you wish you could have played with? Maybe someone who is on an opposing team that you guys just weren't on the same side. Ryan, let's hear it.
Hands down, I already said hey the other day. Emily to me is like someone from the video in the opening. I was like, can't wait to see her. I'll see her at the merge. Like, I want to work with her so bad. Ironically, she would have been voted out. I would have voted her out first, but I was like, I would have loved to like play with Emily for sure.
Allison.
I echo those emotions. Gray is the only one I didn't play with the whole game. She was the only one I wasn't on the same tribe with. And I just liked the vibe I was getting from her on the Zoom chats, and it just didn't work out for us.
Anybody else have someone they would? Yes, Corey?
Mine is Casey. Because when I went to Mora Mora, she talked to me the most, and we had the most like personal conversation. And I told Emily this when we met back up at the merge, where I was like, Casey is just so charming, and you'll start talking about like your day, and then you're talking about your childhood, and then suddenly you're telling her that you want to work with her, and you don't know how you got there. And it's just like very disarming. And I just wish I had that on my side to like work on other people instead of it working on me.
Yes, Casey is incredibly charming. Yes, Cam.
I wanted to be on the same team as Lisa so badly, and when I saw that we were not on the same team, I was devastated. And then when she got voted out, I was obviously more devastated. Lisa played such a big role in, I think, everybody's experience of season 2, and it was like this brush with celebrity.
Yeah, I have to admit, Lisa, I was very sad when you went home, but then like selfishly was happy because then you were back on the fan side and I could interact with you all the time, which for me I really enjoyed. Okay, so another thing people wanted to know about, which was new to this season, was the Zoom tokens in the Zoom list. Now, before we talk about those, I do want to say it was so wildly fascinating seeing these Zoom lists happen, because for Mora Mora, there were like 4 of you that didn't match with anyone. And it was so wild because people wanted to talk to you, but you like didn't have the same people. So like Allison, your name was written down 3 times, but you just didn't have those people. Lisa's name was written down 3 times. She just didn't have those people. So it was this very fascinating, just like not meshing up. Whereas I believe on Verdasa, everyone had at least 1 call, and there were a few people who had all 3. So fans wanted to know, you know, what was it like with the Zoom list and the Zoom tokens? How did you use them? Do you wish you would have used one at a different time? That sort of thing. Yes, Lisa.
You know I don't shut up, Kelsey.
No,
Just don't call my name.
I'm just saying, like, why do you keep muting yourself? It's a waste of
I know, I should just keep it on. Anyways, what was I saying? Ramble. So that day that I got voted out, that day was a really hard day for me. If you saw my confessional, yeah, it was rough. With how the day went, I knew I was going to get booted out. Like, I knew hands down. And like, as much as I tried to play the game, you know, my alliance at the time kind of was trying to strategize me a way to kind of come back, and I tried, but like that day it was really bad, and I knew I was gonna go, so I was waiting for it, you know, the whole time. I had my little Bulbasaur hoodie and my Bulbasaur, you know, stuffy, and I wish I used the Zoom token if I was in the right headspace, and I think I could have been like, hey, because like,
yeah. Sure. Did anybody else thoughts on the Zoom situation? I feel like Charlotte, go ahead.
I will say, going into the swap, I was like, at that point I decided that I was 100% flipping on Verdasa. And so for me, I think the Zoom tokens were really crucial. In the first Zoom that I had was with Ryan. Ryan and I had a Zoom by ourselves, and then we had another Zoom with the rest of the Mora Mora people. And that was a really crucial element for when I went to them and was saying to them, hey, I'm flipping with you guys. I think if that was over Slack, it would have been a lot harder for them to believe it.
Sure.
But actually being sort of like in the same room and looking at each other in the eyes was like a pretty huge element.
Sure. I think also, was that the day, Ryan, that you wanted an 8 a.m. Zoom call to talk with Jerry and Casey, and neither of us were very awake, but we made it work for that sake. Ryan and I don't like to wake up before 8 a.m. Erin, did you have something about the Zoom tokens?
Yeah, well, for me, the only person I Zoomed with on that first day was Jerry. So that definitely was like the beginning of something for us. And then later down the line, the Zoom tokens just really helped you, make sure people weren't feeding you bullshit. Because some people do just sweat when you're just like, okay, so this is happening and this is it. And then it's just like, the vibes and energy of people, which is like, you don't get any of that through text, and kind of just like being in the same space with someone and being able to kind of like read their face. You just like, it kind of made you know where you were with them. Like, did they trust you? Did they not trust you?
Yes, and you bring us to our first segment, which is called Jaren, a Love Story. One moment, here we go.
You know our love was meant to be.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm so good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
And I want you here with me. You should know everywhere I go. Always on my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Baby, you're the meaning in my life.
Missed you so much.
I just miss so much.
You bring the feeling to my life. You're the inspiration.
What the fuck is going on, Jerry?
Okay, here's the tea.
Oh, Oh, Jared, we love to see it.
Beautiful.
Fans have many questions about Jaren. First question was, why'd you guys fall in love just so damn quickly?
I mean, me, Jerry, and Ryan all had our homosexuality absolutely assisting us in bonding. That's something that gay people have an advantage about. We can just bond because we're gay. And I think with Jerry, at least, like, I just felt like Ryan already had his like his little feelers out everywhere, and he was just going to be a little too slippery for me to like make my number one. And I really wanted to have a number one. And so I really just kind of took the plunge with Jerry, and it just worked out, I think. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, I feel the same. I mean, I was messaging my queer friend who's also named Aaron, spelled E-I-R-N, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I just like absolutely spilled my soul to this Aaron, and it freaking worked out. But I was hesitant when I got the first hidden immunity to tell her, because I wasn't sure, like, I wasn't sure if she was also like a Ryan situation where, you know, she also was reaching out to so many different people at once. And then she told me that she only Zoomed with me that first day, and then I just took a chance and it worked out.
Jaren forever. Did you guys ever lie to each other?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, there's maybe things that we accidentally didn't get into. Like, I definitely felt like sometimes I like said too much, and I was like going too hot too fast, but we did kind of just talk about it all.
I forgot to mention that I Zoomed with Brett the first day, and I told Aaron this like final 5 or something.
Oh, okay, about that. That was a fact. Fans also want to know, after quarantine is all over and we can travel, will you two be hanging out in the real world, and will this friendship be continuing on past this game?
I think so, yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll cross paths, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were a few other dynamic duos, if you will. Another one that didn't have a name for it, but I'm calling them Gianna, which was Jake and Deanna, which really fascinated not only the fans but myself, because in the very beginning, it seemed like you two were not connecting whatsoever. And I think I distinctly remember in both of your confessionals talking about the other being like, I just can't connect with this person, and I don't know why. People were kind of curious what changed, because it really seemed up until the end when Deanna left that you guys were in it together.
Charlotte for sure was a huge factor in bringing the two of us together, because we were both close with her and she wanted to work with us as a unit. So we ended up in a group chat together for the first kind of time. And then truly our first opportunity to bond, just the two of us, came with Animal Crossing, when we both gushed over it and spent a long time talking and forming like a real human connection that I think the rest of the game trust came out of afterwards.
And Deanna, do you feel like it was post-swap that you guys just started to form that connection?
Yeah, I didn't talk to Jake at all before we swapped. And I think that I was lacking that person that I needed to bounce off every single idea and every single thought I had. And Jake was so patient and so good at like articulating everything in like a smarter way than I did. So I felt like it definitely worked in a partnership where we worked together super well.
And Deanna was my rock.
I was gonna say, didn't Jake like write up things and then you would kind of proof it and soften it before you sent to other contestants?
Yeah. When we sent Casey that like novel on like this one of the last days, I had to rewrite a couple things because they are a little bit cold. So
and I for sure laid it out just as a list of facts that I felt was a great case, but Deanna was like, what if we maybe connect her on a human level before we send it? And then I was like, you should probably send it because it's going to sound a lot nicer coming from you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Two other duos I want to talk about. One was a hidden duo that people did not know about, which was Allison and Ryan. So you guys were a secret number 1 and 2, is that correct?
You are correct.
And how early on did that form?
Day 1.
Okay, and so what happened post-swap? You guys weren't on the same? Was the goal always like Jerry and Aaron to get back to each other?
I think so. That was my plan. I can't speak on behalf of Ryan, but I think that that swap was like gutting for me because and I think that maybe helped Aaron and I bond too because we had, I guess, similar number ones on the other side. And we just felt, and on both like 2.0 teams, Mora was in the minority on both of those sides. So I think that was always the plan. Not that I wasn't open to talking to Verdassa, but we all know how that went better than in some ways than others.
So Ryan, that's right? That you guys had a duo, a secret duo-ship going on. Is that part of the reason why the throwing of challenges began?
I would say I threw challenges to protect Aaron and Allison. I didn't really see my game. I didn't want to play a game without them, or at least to attempt to. And then, you know, with my wiggle room with Charlotte, I was like, I would much rather risk it now to protect both of them than lose one of them.
Sure. And then the last duo that we want to talk about, which I'm sorry, Ryan, to be bringing you up again, but was Cam and Corey, which last night in the cat chats, Ryan said that Jerry and Aaron's partnership was born out of trust and love and wanting to work together, and that Corey's and Cam's partnership was out of convenience. And Cam disagreed with that. So Corey and Cam, was yours a real partnership?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think Corey and I both responded immediately and we're like, oh, interesting.
Sorry, thank you, Kat, not convenience, necessity. Sorry, continue.
Necessity. I mean, Corey and I matched on the Zoom call. And on the first night, we formed a foursome with Gray and Emily. And we all had like suspicions about each other. And there were moments where we doubted each other. But we all genuinely got along and we liked each other. So to have someone tell a bunch of people that I'm not close with Corey and that it's like fake or whatever is sad.
Ryan, do you feel differently now that they were a real partnership? And what led you to believe that they weren't?
I don't really think what I said was like, oh, they're fake and they're not friends. Of course they're close. We all got to know each other so much. When I look at season 3, do I want it to be represented by Cam and Corey? No, of course I'm going to say Jaren. We love Jaren. But like, also when I look at the games, it's like, I think I was coming more from a point of like, Cam and Corey were like always gonna die together. Like they're just gonna like when I look at Corey going back in the game, I was like, oh, are they finally gonna like switch it up? Because Cam seems to be in a really good spot. Corey might be able to go like hook up with some other Mora people, but they like didn't. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't know.
And off of that, yes, Corey, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I think it was formed the same way. I just think that because Emily and I had control over the swap, like we were on the same team, whereas Aaron and Jerry weren't. And then with Charlotte's flip, like it played out differently where we did have to work together, but we were already planning on doing that. And then we didn't make it to the end. So it wasn't like this long journey that was like talked about. It was sort of like, I got voted out. And then so it wasn't the same, but like it started the same.
You guys never flipped on each other either, right? I think that, yeah. So I want to talk about that swap. And I want to start with Gray, because Gray, in watching confessionals, once Corey and Emily had won, it was clear they wanted to divide up the teams and have a Verdassa majority on either. And it seemed like they wanted to evenly split up the foursome, but that didn't happen. How did you feel when you found out that you weren't going to be on Emily's team?
Yeah, I mean, so that night too, and I think I said this in my confessional that night, and I've told Emily and Corey and Cam now, but I threw the competition once it was down to the 3 of us because I didn't want the target on my back of having to pick the teams. And like, that is honestly my biggest regret now in the entire game, because that sealed my fate essentially. But I mean, we had all kind of gone through every scenario before the challenge of what would happen at a swap. And ideally we did want it 2-2. And I was disappointed not to be on Emily's team because I was hoping that I didn't want her to be by herself and for her to think that all of us had like revolted against her and were flipping on her. And so it made me nervous from that side, but I think they both did like the best that they could picking the teams under the pressure that they were under at the time, and just kind of like the way the cookie crumbles.
And Emily, did you choose Aaron first because you wanted to throw suspicion off of like who you were in a tight alliance with?
Yeah, well, I wanted to communicate a couple things to Corey, like let's split up some specific people. Remember, the goal is to split up Mora Mora, and we obviously can't pick Cam and Gray absolutely first. And so I was actually genuinely interested in working with Erin, but I didn't feel like I had a shot if she was with, I couldn't figure out who she was closer with, Jerry or Ryan at first. We kind of had a suspicion that it was Jerry because they seemed to be like slacking at the same time in banishments. So there was some reasoning there, but I was expecting to get like 2 more picks before needing to get Gray, which is why I picked Cole next, because I figured everybody thinks Cole is equally loyal to everyone. Let me just throw it out there that maybe he's most loyal to me, and then I'll get Gray next. And by that point, it had kind of like fallen out a little bit.
Got it. And actually something really interesting that I wasn't planning to discuss, but I think was another thing that Corey picked up on so early. Corey, you had suspicions after that 24 hours you spent with Mora Mora that Jerry had an idol.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So because he did the like flower up thing instead of powerful, right?
Yeah, so it was, I just sort of like watched everyone try to figure it out. Lisa lied, but like never admitted to lying in that thread. And then Allison, I think it was Allison, said, I just tried powerful and I was too late. And then Jerry immediately said, I thought it was flower up, which like, I don't think you make that joke if you just say it was powerful. I don't think you re-scramble that into flower up unless you have all the letters. So I was like, it's Jerry or Ryan because he woke up late and I didn't know if that was real or not.
But okay, so it's so fascinating to me about that because you were right. That idol was never flushed and Jerry's name was not written down until the end, really. So were you just not able to convince people that he might have an idol?
I told people that I was with that I thought he had it and I was like 90% sure he had it. But when I got voted out the first time and was with all like the Mora Mora who went pre-merge, they were like, Allison has it, Allison has it. They were like sure of that. And so I was just like, okay, that's the consensus. And I don't know how to fight that when like, I think all of Mora Mora believes that. So I think he did a really good job of like throwing the scent off.
And Casey, off of that, is the first time you finding out that Aaron knew about Jerry's idol at banishment yesterday?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Actually, it was very fascinating because that Zoom call that you 3 were in right after Cam or Corey went home, you asked and Aaron almost started to tell you that she knew. And then Jerry was like, I didn't tell anyone. I kept it to myself.
I have thought about that so many times. So many.
I felt like it was vital to keep lying because it was Final 5 and Casey she put herself in that swing vote position. And I felt like if I told her that I was closer with Aaron, she'd easily flip over to Jake and Deanna. And so it was a quick minute decision because I didn't plan for this. I don't think Aaron planned for this lie either. And it was just like, oh God, what do we tell her? Because she might flip on us. But
for me, I really thought she would forgive us. Like, I do think that, like, she knows how genuine our relationship was with her, and I was a little less afraid of it, but Jerry then being like, no, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I thought maybe he had it, so I told him, but I was just like, oh, yeah, not a fun time that wasn't fun. And I did apologize to Casey, like, immediately after last night because I did want her to know, like, you know, we obviously love her so much, and it was like, she was literally essential to the game. And if she would have flipped, I do believe she would have taken it. Like, you guys, the goat thing is so hilarious because she really did.
She's not good at all.
game. Yeah.
I agree. Casey, had you found out that Jerry had told Aaron that early on, would that have affected? Would you have flipped to work with Jake and Deanna?
100%. I think so. Only because you've got to, like, you have to think about the end game, and I wasn't willing to do it because I like truly didn't think he had it. And so I wasn't willing to flip for two people who had already flipped on me, and I like didn't have a relationship with them. So I just wasn't willing to do that. But if I had known, I for sure would have.
And you can take that to the
So
bank.
they're right about that.
Casey, what was I about to ask you about that? Shoot. Oh,
I
Jake,
don't know.
Jake, you won that advantage to be able to slack 5 minutes with jury. People wanted to know, why didn't you use that to convince Casey that everyone on the jury was going to vote for Jerry unless she flipped on them?
So I won that after we had already made our pitch to Casey, after Deanna and I had sent what I thought was a very, like, laying it all out on the table. We think that it is better for your game to come and vote with us. And Casey made it clear she had no interest in doing that. So at that point, it felt to me like Jerry, Aaron, and Casey were in it to be the final three together, not to particularly win the game. And so that felt like a losing battle for me no matter what. So in my best interest, I thought it was best to use the secrecy of the advantage and the fact that I knew they knew I got it. So if I could just stay quiet about it, they might assume it's an idol and I could say in it, which is what ended up happening.
And Casey, what about Deanna and Jake's pitch? It was compelling. I think I read it, but it rubbed you the wrong way. And I'm curious why it rubbed you the wrong way.
I just didn't love that we hadn't had conversations before that. And then out of the clear blue sky, these two people who had zero interest in talking to me about things, I don't know, they just kind of came up to me with it. And I don't know, I just felt like it was too little too late, and I wasn't willing to switch on two people who I had played the whole game with. And obviously that ended up hurting my game, which, I mean, it is what it is, but I just couldn't come to terms with switching on two people who I loved for two people who were not willing to work prior to that.
Sure. And had Jake given you that and you had slacked with anyone on the jury, do you think that they would have convinced you to change your mind, or no?
I don't know. I think that that's such a hypothetical situation. I think that they probably would have, but I can't be positive. But yeah, I could see that.
Okay, so next I want to go into a personal favorite segment, which is, you know what, we're going to focus on all of our collective child, Cole. He is all of our children. We've all adopted him. We love him so much. I believe I told Cole this, but when the producers were watching the audition videos, Marissa and I watched Cole's and immediately were like, we must cast this kid. There is no questions asked. We must do it. So I wanted to show, first of all, one of our favorite moments, and I thank Corey for making this because I've probably watched it 100 times myself. And everyone, when you watch this, please watch Brett. It's so funny. Okay, round 3. I mean, Verdasa, you were already going to win, but round 3, I just would like to say Brett got 47 points and Cole got 108 points.
What?
Cole beat everyone! Oh my God. Cole, so are you a secret Boggle champ?
Yes, but I'm not smart. And getting all those points probably wasn't so smart for the game either.
Verdasa, original Verdasa, I have to ask, what was your, and more, what were your reactions when you saw that Cole got so many points and blew everyone out of the water on that challenge?
Well, you saw our faces. I think that brings it all.
I was shocked, and I think in that moment we all realized, oh, maybe we're underestimating this kid. Maybe he's actually way smarter than we're all giving him credit for.
Cole, I believe you also went the Jake route of pretending you had never seen Survivor a day in your life. Is that kind of the narrative you went with?
Well, it started off like that, but then Akash got voted out very early for not knowing what he was doing. So I kind of tried to shift it a little bit gradually as it went on.
Okay, OG Verdasa, by show of hands, I'm going to use a Mean Girls quote. How many of you have been personally victimized by Cole and him saying you were his number one? Cole, I think that was also a major error in your way, was saying everyone was your number one. Did you have a number one?
I mean, not really. I was hoping to.
Okay, here's another one of my favorite Cole moments. Cole had not used a Zoom token at all. Merge happens, and this immediately is a Zoom that takes place.
Hello.
Hi. It's so good to talk to you finally.
It's so good to talk to you too. Okay, I'm gonna start really quick because I have to tell you a lot of things. I have something for you.
For me?
Yes. So basically at Old Mora Mora, there were like those channels, you know, where it was like Mora Mora trees. I'm assuming it was Verdasa for you. So there was one that was Mora Mora water well that in the bio it said it's actually a sandbar, which I didn't really know. But basically, if you unscrambled all the letters of the other ones and you put in sandbar, you get secret, send a bra and a sock. So I messaged Kelsey those, and I got this advantage. I haven't told anyone about it.
Okay.
Which is why I was asking, don't tell anyone.
I won't
Because I
tell
think
anyone.
we could use it.
I would love to use it.
Basically, it's a hidden, what's it called? A legacy immunity.
Okay.
It was an immunity idol that doesn't work at all after merge for me. And then I can give it to someone and they can use it until final 5. So I wanted to give it to you.
That's so nice of you.
You're my favorite person on Overdose, and we just split, and I want to work with you. So hopefully it makes you want to work with me.
I really appreciate that. I would love to work with you. I am very...
Oh my God, I can't. It's so good. Charlotte, were you buying it at all?
I don't know. I mean, it just didn't make sense. Like, he literally came back. I was the person who had flipped on Verdasa, and he was going to come to me and give me an idol. And then, like, very quickly afterwards, he, like, messaged me, like, hey, I just want you to know I don't think you should play the idol tonight. And I was, and so I honestly, like, at that point, like, look, like, I was getting bullied by an 18-year-old boy. Like, that didn't feel good, okay? So, Kelsey, when you asked a few minutes ago, have any of you felt personally victimized by Cole? I raised my hand up. I didn't know you were about to ask the second part of the question. Cole has been sort of so psychologically humiliating to me. The things that he has said to me in the jury chat, I mean, I honestly, like, I don't know why no one is, like, reaching out and checking on me about it. And so a little part of me was like, all right, I'm gonna, like, mess with this kid a little bit. So when he came to me and he was like, hey, like, I just want to check in because he thought that I was voting with him that night. And so he was like, I really don't think you should use it because the second I use it, you tell me it's fake and then he and I aren't working together anymore. And I was like, Cole, are you sure? Like, buddy, this is not my idol. This is our idol. Like, I will play it for you tonight. And ended up voting him out that night, but wanted to go to him at every single banishment and ask him, like, hey, bud, like, do you want me to play this one for you tonight? And just, like, wait for him to be like, no, I don't think we should.
Also, it's such a gorgeous fake idol. I mean, how could this not be a legit idol? This is what Cole made. Cole, why would I want you to send a bra and sock?
Actually, I'm sorry. That was the part that was the most...
I don't know. Well, because say that happened, the words would line up to that. And at that point, I was like, I haven't done anything this game. I haven't been doing a single banishment. either this isn't going to work and it's going to blow up on my face, or I'm not going to get any jury votes anyway, so I might as well do something.
And Cole, what was the other thing that you did? You messaged Akash because you thought, even though he had long been out of the game, because you thought he held an answer for one of the clues.
I did do that also. In the stupid immunity necklace that you were wearing was the clue that I got, and it said there was one last place you must check. And so I thought that might be Akash.
Yeah, I remember Hilton Island having some fun with that one because I think Akash then told them and they all came up with alternative things that he should have said to you to keep you fake looking. Okay, so Cole, in all sincerity, I do want to, and I asked you last night, did you feel like this game was kind of transformational at all? I know when you came in, you were nervous about being the youngest one and having that be a target on your back. And like, I also feel, well, I'll tell you what I'm proud of after. You go first. You to unmute. And then
I mean, it was definitely transformational, like, as I grew as a person, for sure, because at the start, I see all of you guys, and I see you as my boss, or my parents, or like people who kick me out of Dick's Sporting Goods for playing with the sports equipment in the store. But then, I mean, I get to talk to you, and you're all lovely, and you all think just like me, and I like you a lot, so that's good.
Oh, Cole, we so enjoyed having you here and we're so proud of you because also I remember in all your beginning confessionals, you would like whisper, like you were so afraid. And you really, you and Jake both had, you know, volume increases in your life as your transformation through this game. So we're so glad that you joined and that you played. You did a great job. And this brings me into, I want to talk about some of the bigger game moments and kind of what went into them, what happened, and walk fans through kind of, they don't always get to see the Slack conversations and what your guys' thoughts were. So the first one I want to talk about was the gray vote, the infamous gray vote. So Charlotte, you knew from the beginning you wanted to flip on OG Verdasa?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty clear to me when we were on the original Verdasa where the power structure was, which was Corey, Gray, Emily, and Cam. And so I always knew that I was looking at like best case scenario. There was this narrative of like green strong. I knew that I was not only looking at being one of the first votes off of that, like if we really could all get back to the merge, but also that and not having done anything. And like, that just felt like a really like not fun way for me to play this game. So yeah, I was always going to flip on them. Gray was not the original target, Cam was, but then Cam had an idol, so it became Gray because Corey was immune.
Which is so fascinating because the only reason you learned about that Cam had an idol was because of Gray. Is that right, Gray?
I don't think so, no, because me, Corey, and Cam had been talking about all day if we were going to tell Charlotte that Cam had the idol.
That's right.
We wanted to make sure that like she 100% trusted us, and so we were trying to like give her this information as saying like, hey, we really do want to work with you. And I was very hesitant about it all day though, and I told Corey and Cam that because I knew that if the case that she did flip, she was going to take that information to the other side, and then I would be the one whose name was written down. And Cam and I had also talked that day about him playing the idol for me in that case, but I think we all like truly had a false sense of safety because we hadn't been to a banishment yet. And so we were just like keeping our fingers crossed that Ryan was the person with the extra vote, which like we really didn't have from that much information, but we were kind of placing all our bets on that. And we truly didn't want to go to Rocks. And there was just a lot of like red flags being raised for me all day because I felt like Charlotte and I just weren't conversing like we had been the previous days, and she was very nervous on the Zoom, and I had reached out after the four of us had Zoomed and said like, are you okay? And so I think deep down I like truly knew something was going to happen, but I was just kind of like blissfully trying to be like, I'm just going to ignore that little gut feeling that's nagging at me.
Sure.
I was trying to play up my nervousness throughout the day with the original Verdasa, because the way that I had wanted the vote to look to keep communication alive with Verdasa after one of the three of them had gone home was that I just like was so in my head and I was so overwhelmed and I just got so scared and I just couldn't go to rocks. And so I was definitely playing up my nervousness with them all day and just trying to get them to think that I was just sort of this like anxious person.
Sure. And so Jerry, Ryan, and Casey, I remember being in that Zoom call. You guys seemed like you really fully believed that Charlotte was willing to flip. Were you guys concerned at all that she was just saying that? Or were you, because she had used Zoom tokens to kind of have that face-to-face interaction, were you fully invested and fully believing that that was the plan?
I mean, I always had doubts, but then she spent 2 Zoom tokens on us, or someone else spent another one, but and she even said in the Zoom call that if she really wanted to fuck us over, she'd, you know, just wouldn't talk to us. And that seemed like just talking with her and Zooming with her, just that kind of locked that in and kind of really tipped me off to Charlotte. So
sure. And Casey and Ryan, similar for you guys?
I think for me,
yeah, I felt like she had put a lot on, sorry, Ryan. I felt like she put a lot on the line. And so if she wasn't being legit, she was kind of like screwing her own game up. And so I believed her, but I was trying to like not make it seem like I was super eager about it in the Zoom call.
Casey, you truly had the best poker face throughout the whole thing. I think you and Jerry were my most evasive banishment answerers of things. Yeah, you guys were just like flipping around back on me and I wasn't able to pin you down and get an answer. I do want to ask Charlotte a few questions. One being, how long was the belief that it wasn't your extra vote and that either Jerry, Casey, or Ryan had it?
I mean, that might not be a question for me, but I believe that that information only came out because Ryan told people when they were at what they called the Hilton Hotel.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Getting confirmation on that one. So and Charlotte, what was the reactions after that you got from Cam and Corey? Because I think a challenge with that one was really if we were going to go to Rocks, it was going to be you or it was going to be Jerry and Casey. So you would have been the one Verdasa person who would have gone. And to me, that is a very compelling argument. No one wants to go home on a rock. But it seemed like people were very upset at their plans being changed. Is that something that you dealt with?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like we're getting to the part of this whole thing where we like are going to have an honest conversation, which Kelsey, you're the real puppet master in all of this. We know that you're walking us here. Yeah, I mean, I definitely experienced throughout my time playing this game, like a lot of aggressive at times communication from people that I had betrayed. And it was a really interesting experience to receive because, yes, like to your point. So first to your point, like in the world, the real world that we were in, or in the real world, I knew that I had just like screwed all these people over. But in the like fake world, it took me a really long time to realize that like what they were really mad about, the fake move also would have been kind of ridiculous. Like, why would I go to Rocks for Gray? And Gray had kept me definitely at an arm's length the entire game. And be on top of that, Corey had come to me throughout that day and been like, Gray doesn't trust you, Gray doesn't trust you. And that kind of gave me the perfect excuse to be like, why would I go to Rocks for someone who isn't loyal to me anyway? But within like also the context of just like the betrayal, like I felt a lot of times throughout this game that people were very offended by me betraying them, which when it first happened, I almost understood. But as it kept happening, I kind of just was like, we are A, playing Survivor, and B, I've done this now like 4 times in a row. Like, I don't know where this like insult keeps coming from. And I don't want to like make this a larger thing, but I feel like you and I have talked about this a little bit, and I've talked to a couple people about this. Like, I do feel like there was this like intense underestimating of me that happened from day one. And I think that like people sized me up, made decisions based on like whatever preconceived notions they had. And when I outsmarted them, when I outmaneuvered them, there was like this betrayal that was like on top of just the fact that we're playing Survivor, and blindsides are like an intimate part of Survivor.
Yeah. I think another interesting part of that, which like we were joking in the jury Slack last night, you know, off of Cam's question where he asked the final three, you know, what's a personal fact you know about each of us? And I find it to be so interesting. I think I was talking with season 2 people about this as well, is that it's this double-edged sword where you guys want people to know who you are as a person, but then when they know who you are as a person and they blindside you or vote you out, you feel so deeply personally offended. So it feels like which is the right answer, and it's so hard to wade through that because Charlotte, I know you were saying in the jury Slack last night, you felt like you know facts about everyone, and you were one of the few people who did talk to everyone in this game. And I think something very interesting that happened in this season is there was a lot of not talking to people, which I personally don't really understand what that was. And I am curious from you guys, was that just like a not wanting to look disloyal to your allies, or kind of what was the reasoning and not wanting to talk to people? You know, when Corey was over at Mora Mora, or when we had the swap, or just like when you would switch majority and minority, it was just like people didn't want to talk to each other who were in opposing camps. And I want to understand that more. Jake, you looked like you wanted to say something.
Yeah. So I'll take that. So I think for me, disloyalty is sown so fast in this game. Like everything that you say to anyone, you have to expect is being copy and pasted to other people, and everybody is telling everybody what they're saying. And so if you can limit your conversations to a select few, and they know that you're the only one they're talking to, they feel a lot more comfortable with you at a certain point. And I think that was sort of we saw that in action when a lot of the people who were voted out early in this game were some of the people who talked the most and who were trying to pull the most strings early. And I think that it was the people who were more reserved with their conversations and more selective about who they were talking to and working with that made it further on.
Sure. Yeah, Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, to go off what Jake said, it's interesting because like the people, I mean, definitely in my experience, Emily and Cole were the people who talked to me the most on my Mora Mora 2.0. And I wouldn't say that I was targeting them more than you and Jake and like Jake and Deanna, but I just felt like, yeah, Jake, I mean, he lifted himself from that first banishment, and Deanna was like, yeah, to me at that point, just a very quiet person who wasn't even that lively on like the group aspects of chatting. So to me, I almost viewed them as like not even worth my time, like to vote out at the start. Like I was like, it seemed very clear from my previous week that those people weren't interested in working with me, but definitely the people, yeah, like I guess the people who were playing the hardest game, or I felt like were trying to deceive me the most, did like work their way up like higher on the list.
Sure. Yeah. Emily, go ahead.
I have thought about this so much because I was very uncomfortable during the swap. Like my personal style of playing was very challenged by being aligned with Jake and Deanna and Cole. And I feel like the extremes of the first third of the game heavily contributed to this. OG Verdasa did not have to lose for a very long time. OG Mora Mora had to learn to trust each other for real immediately. And add to that like you kind of want levels of perception management in the game. Like it's very nice to be like green strong, purple strong, whatever. I don't think anybody really thinks that's what you're going to do the whole game through. I think Charlotte realized the exit to get off at the right time. And I think me, Jake, Deanna, and Cole probably should have lost a challenge earlier so that we could have necessitated like talking to Aaron and talking to Allison more. And sure. I at least felt like I can't give up this like Verdasa strong perception because it's helping me. And I think I would be the first to go out of these four. So I have to kind of keep Aaron and Allison at an arm's length while also building a relationship with them. And that must have been like extremely frustrating because I never was able to like pull a real trigger.
So Charlotte, did you have something you wanted to say?
I just wanted to add one aspect of it, which I do think like maybe is a little off topic, but everything you're saying I think comes up to this. Like, I know that I got some blowback, like, because people felt that I was like there's this narrative a little bit that I like my social game was like brutal because I spoke to people about like personal things or like chatted with people, but my headspace in doing that was like also trying to be respectful to other people as human beings. And this one thing that I saw a lot that I think was very frustrating to see happen on a game level, but also on a personal level, was it felt like there was this gloating happening after every vote, the morning after every vote. And there were mornings where Cam and Corey after a vote were very like disappointed with me and frustrated with me. And I messaged both of them every morning and I said, hey, I'm just reaching out because I like respect you as a human being and I'm not going to ice you today, but like, don't like, feel free to like not respond. And Cam very fairly was like, hey, I actually just like need to take a day. And I was like, great, like I'm not going to bother you. And Corey and I had like a conversation about the weather. And I think that was something that when I look at some of the people who are frustrated with like where they ended up in the game, I do think that there is an element of I'm in the majority, I'm at the top, so I'm not talking to people at the bottom.
Yeah, I think we definitely saw that from Verdasa, especially when there was this swap. And I know that from my own point of view, it felt like it fed into then Jerry, Casey, and Ryan not wanting to work with OG Verdasa because they had been put so down low on the totem pole. Am I making that up, Ryan? Is that correct, that you guys were kind of like really iced out? So then when you guys did that flip on Gray, it almost created then this tension where there was no way you wanted to work with them.
And also, real quick, a totem pole has nothing to do with like ranking in Native culture.
Yes,
and
thank you for correcting me. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, that's like a term that, I mean, Survivor appropriates so many Native terms, and that's something that I'm processing every day. And I just would appreciate moving forward if we try to lean away.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Aaron.
Yeah, I'll say like I think Charlotte brings up a good point of like, and like also I'm thinking what Emily was battling with is like, to me, just because someone is like not like in the minority, like just because they're in the minority doesn't mean you need to treat them like any less than a person. And I do feel like a lot of that, I felt like Verdasa kind of treated me, my personal experience was like that on that tribe or on that team. So yeah, I was confused because I was like, okay, well, listen, you guys can like pick us off one by one. I totally get that. But like, while I'm here, I don't want to have a shitty time. Like, I'm still like playing with you like as a human being. So like, it kind of did suck to kind of be met with that like coldness and like, I actually don't have to talk to you. As an example is Corey came over to Mora Mora, and you know what? I know it could probably like blow back my game. And of course it was strategy and talking with Corey, but also that would really suck for Corey to come over and just like get fully iced. And it's like, yeah, I didn't really want to go into like too much with Corey, but I just wanted him to like at least know like, hey, I'm glad Casey was talking to him. I didn't know that. But I'm just like, you know, if you want to talk like, hey, we can kind of like talk a bit. And then, you know, I tried with Cam, I tried with Gray. Gray like slowly started warming up, but I don't know. It's like, it was just a little bit difficult. And, you know, it does hurt a bit, but also I do know we're playing a game, but after that vote, it definitely, I will say, after the Gray vote, it set a tone in the team where it was like, you know what, maybe I don't need to talk to you because you just treated me like shit for a day. So why do I need to talk to you right now?
Mm-hmm.
Like the thought process of it.
Yeah.
Sorry. I would like to know how like the icing out manifests itself and how people would describe that, because I think I've heard people use that phrase to mean different things. Like when Corey came back, he made it clear that everybody was like a nice person, but that he was being iced from a game perspective. And so I'm just curious to get maybe more specificity around what that meant to different people who kind of felt it the most.
So Allison, I think you were still there when Corey came over for 24 hours. Do you have any sort of response to Emily's question about the icing out?
Well, I think she's right. Like, it's been a term that's been thrown around, but I think it means different things to different people. I I did talk to Corey. I did not talk game. We talked about, things we might have in common. It was pleasantries. I didn't put up a full wall. Maybe he didn't get as much information as he wanted, but from my perspective, Mora Mora was already going through such chaos that for me, it wasn't personal. It was just like, I don't need an extra wrench into trying to figure out who I can work with. But I did talk to Corey, just maybe not as much as he would have liked, but we had some jokes and some laughs. And I also, it was only 24 hours. So we all as a team kind of said, hey guys, like, let's not give him information. Let's make a different group thread so that he only sees the team one. And so if my behavior hurt you, Corey, I'm sorry. It's not what I meant. It was so chaotic and more at the beginning that I just didn't need another person to have to try and manage and then go back with that information too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my experience with like the icing out was that like Ryan and Brett both reached out to me about like just being like, hey, welcome. And then we sort of agreed that like one of them, or like that they would give me a name when the time came. And that was sort of what the conversation was limited to. Jerry and Aaron reached out to me 10 minutes before like the Slack curfew ended, and then like responded like mid next day. And like, that's not a conversation. And then I had to reach out to Allison and Lisa myself. And then they both had reasons that they were not going to be on Slack all day. So it's like, yes, you were polite and responded to me, and we had like a 2-minute back and forth, but then it was like, I have a meeting I have to go to, or like, and like excuse as to why like the conversation had to end there.
I will say I did not reply to Corey that night because he said that everyone on Mora Mora was rude, and I thought that was like a really strong, bold energy to come in with, considering like we were losing people left and right, and he was there for 24 hours. Like, I was expecting him to be like a little bit like, fuck my team, they sent me here and I don't know what's going on over there, like at least like a little juice. But he was pretty much like, no, you guys are all rude. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have much to say to this man. And like, obviously that's Corey, and like he's like a charming, smart person who I'm happy I got to know later in the game and have more conversations with. But immediately I was like, okay, well, they're outnumbering us and they think we're little bitches. So no, I don't want to talk to him. Like,
he also came in, and we don't even know him at all. And he came into the Slack and was like, your shelter's shitty. And obviously we're not at a shelter, but came in with this like kind of aggressive energy of like, this is super shitty. And like, what are you guys doing? And like, what are you guys thinking? And to me, that was just like not a great first impression.
So I want to go off that because I think that one of the biggest challenges to this game is the Slack component, right? And like someone's humor, and I assume that was Corey trying to be funny, like doesn't always translate via Slack. And maybe other people's like reservedness. Like I remember hearing people say that about Jake. Jake wasn't talking to people. So they're like, who is he working with? Who is he working with? And it's like, no, Jake's just like not talking to people. And very much like this perception that I think is built. And I also, well, I'll get into the other thing later. Let's get into something lighthearted, because something that was very fun for jury to learn was that Quiet Reserve Jake was actually doing these crazy confessionals. So we made a little compilation of some of our favorites of his confessionals, and we're going to watch that really quickly.
A gar is a species of freshwater fish commonly known as a North American fish, although fossilized remains of gar have been found as far as Europe and India. My name is Jake, and this is Quarantine Island Critters. Spend my nights. On that pillow is where I spend all my time tossing and turning over the endless fear and paranoia that this game breeds in us all. Let's check out the downstairs. Nice high ceilings, big open space for entertaining, and in this house, it's always October 11th. After a long day playing Quarantine Island, I like to unwind, make myself a nice dinner, and maybe even relax with a cool drink.
Have you ever seen such a beautiful night? I could almost kiss the stars for shining so bright. Have you ever seen such a beautiful night? I could almost kiss the stars for shining so bright.
Jake did watch that YouTube video to learn 3 simple dance moves that he repeated over and over for us, which we really enjoyed. I think you also had a Full House one, right? Didn't you also have a Full House?
I did. Right after the swap happened, I cut together the Full House theme song with me replacing the words to talk about how there were more and more at the vote out everywhere. And put all of our, like, zoomed in on drawings I did on all of us for the theme song.
Yeah, you had a lot of good ones. And actually, thank you. Fans are pointing out that we didn't put this in here, but there was the amazing one that when Cole gifted you the advantage, you photoshopped your head and Cole's head serenading to each other, him bringing you the advantage. It was beautiful. So I do want to dive into the one where you were in the shower crying.
Sure.
That was the Emily vote. So
Yes.
what happened? Because you had been so Verdasa strong, and then suddenly there was a Zoom of like the 6 of you, 3 Verdasa, 3 Moramora, and things changed.
Yeah. So that Corey coming back into the game scared the hell out of me, basically. I knew that there was a strong group on Verdasa that I was not a part of. I assumed it was Corey, Gray, Emily, and Cam, but I didn't know that for sure. But I knew that there were a strong component of people that wanted me out of the game over there. And Corey coming back felt like the leader of it had returned. So I felt like I had to do something to turn Verdasa on its head and eliminate the power structure that was out to get me. And so when Charlotte approached me and said, "Hey, I'm trying to organize a thing with 3 of the Moramora. Do you want to be a part of it? We're going to try to vote out Corey." I jumped at the chance, and I spent the next 2 votes trying to unsuccessfully get Corey out.
And people did ask, and I see the fans asking this again, why are Corey and Jake, why are you guys nemesis? How did this start?
I don't know, maybe it's one-sided. Maybe Corey wasn't out to get me as I thought. But the whole time on the post-swap new Moramora, I was slowly learning more and more information about what all the alliances were on Old Verdasa, and how Corey had come to a couple people individually and talked about me as, if Verdasa ever loses a challenge, I'm an easy, agreeable first boot for everyone. And Emily told me about how he had shared my podcast. Cole, I think, said that he was throwing my name around from day 1 or 2. And so I started putting this narrative together that Corey was after me the whole time. But I'll let him speak whether that's true or not.
In the beginning, that was true. I just knew coming into this that the game would move pretty quickly, and that, like, when you're not living together on a beach, you're not going to get rid of, like, the most obnoxious or, like, the person who does the least work. So I knew that everyone would, like, immediately fall back on the person who, like, didn't make the connections right away. So when people were saying, like, I don't talk to Jake a lot, I was like, okay, this is the one, and sort of, like, guided that narrative in case we lost and in case there was an immediate banishment, that, like, it'd be easy. But then once I got back into the game, I was more worried about saving my own ass than like getting Jake out. I was like, that cannot be my priority when I still have no idea what's going on. And
post merge, Corey and I had a conversation kind of connecting about the fact that he had been after me early on. And I did feel like I had turned over a new leaf with him. And then I think like an hour or 2 after that conversation, I got a message from Deanna saying that Corey was like kind of casting some shade on me for using the safety without power at that first vote and abandoning them. And I was like, all right, well, he's back to his old tricks, so I can't trust him anymore. And I think that's what I was at.
Okay.
Can I add one thing about the Emily vote really quickly?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to say, like, that vote, getting Jake to get on that vote was more Deanna's move, I think, than me. Like, Deanna was the one that knew that now was the time to make that move, and she was the one who, like, was talking to me about that and was able to convince Jake. And I just don't want that to be, like, brushed over.
We love Deanna. What was I gonna ask? Oh, Charlotte, people wanted to know if you had made it, who would you have wanted to go to Final 3 with? Because when the merge happened, it seemed like you were back on the Jake and Deanna train. Are those the 2 people you wanted to go to the final with?
Yeah, well, yes. The short answer is yes, absolutely. Like, those were my people. The longer answer is that it became pretty clear to me that Jerry, Aaron, and Casey were pretty, like, in lockstep. And we had formed this alliance of 6, and it felt pretty I didn't know about Jake's extra vote at this point, and it felt like pretty clear that where we were headed was me having to flip on Jake and Deanna and write one of their names down, which I like absolutely I was not gonna do. There was a 0% chance. And so we all had like a very emotional conversation where we had talked about potentially, if we all were able to actually get that group to final 6, creating something where Jake and Deanna were going to write my name down with Aaron and Jerry, hopefully solidifying a final 4, and like then getting out Casey as well. So I guess that's the answer to your question. Is I think there was a point in the game where it became clear to me that like I was not going to end up at the final 3.
Sure. And the other vote that I want to talk about is the Ryan vote out, because I know, and I don't know if Ryan knows this, but it wasn't going to be him that day. And then plans changed. And the other reason why I bring this up is I find it really fascinating. I'm going to bring gender into it, but that Charlotte was then perceived as this somewhat of a villain. She flipped on people, but Jerry also voted for Ryan, and Casey also voted for Ryan, and they both were with him on OG Mora Mora and went with him. And I just think it's really interesting that then Charlotte kind of developed, there was this narrative around Charlotte when there weren't around some of the other men in the game. There was never that narrative with Jake, who flipped on Emily. There was never that narrative with Jerry, who flipped on Ryan. I guess that's just more something I'm bringing up because I also had a conversation with Ben from last season about it, and how even, for example, Casey's game, I think, is hugely underrated. She went to every single fucking banishment, and she's the one who engineered the Ryan vote, along with other things. And so I think there often can be this perception that either the women, the expectations are low, and so then when they do something such as Char did, then people are pissed off because that's not what women are supposed to do, or it's just like, oh, they didn't really do anything, like Jerry was the ringleader, when it's like, no, Aaron and Casey were absolutely doing things and deciding with him. So I guess that's not really a question, it's just more something I wanted to state. But I did want to ask about the Ryan vote, kind of what happened, because Ryan and Charlotte, you guys did seem like a duo that you were going to take to the merge. So what fell apart there?
Well, there's a lot at play in that, and Ryan and I actually had a 3-hour Zoom last night, and we processed a lot. So obviously, Ryan, I want you to speak as well about this, but from my perspective, there was a couple things that all happened. The first thing that happened was Casey, 100%, like that was her move. She wanted to get out Ryan. And by the way, side note, just to say about Casey, the only reason why I like came at you last night for not flipping on Final 5 is because I know how good you were at this game, and I know that it was something you thought about. And I respect that you like ultimately went for the loyalty, because as I said, $300 is a lot of money, but I don't think it's worth it. But for the Ryan vote, yeah, Casey was adamant that she was voting Ryan. And Cam had like just come through for me on like a personal level. And I felt like I went to him and I basically was like, I really appreciate that you did that. And like in exchange, like to thank you, basically, like, I'm going to get you to the merge. I have a plan to get you to the merge, and I kind of am going to let you pick which way you want to go. And that was either voting with Ryan to vote out Casey, or voting with Jerry and Casey to vote out Ryan. And the only other thing that I think was a factor a little bit was just that we were aware of the fact that if we voted out Ryan, there would be 2 people who were happy with us, whereas if we voted out Casey, there would be 1 person who was happy with us and 1 person who was not happy with us. But maybe Cam can take it from there.
Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, my relationship with Charlotte, especially at that point, was like very confusing for a lot of different levels. And it got more confusing when I realized that she was in on the throwing. But I would like to think that I made it clear repeatedly during that time that I was like, man, I hate what's happening, but like I want to make sure that we're okay as people. And there are multiple times where I was like, we're pausing the game right now. We're not playing a game anymore. Like we're just talking as people, and like I want to make sure everybody is good. So yeah, I just want to say that because I think it's important because it happened. And that was like especially that was that like long weekend. So we had days off, but they were like the most torturous, strenuous days of this entire game. Like happy 4th of July. Like that's what we deserve, I guess, for 4th of July. Yeah. So, and then ultimately, I think this ties in also to the icing conversations, whatever that means. During that time on Verdasa 2.0, Casey and I talked quite a bit. And like we started off on different teams and had all this like tension and stuff, but Casey made a consistent effort to be friendly and we made an effort to get to know each other. And so I was like, this is somebody that I get and like feel like I could potentially work with in the future.
Okay. We just have a last few things. I realize I don't have a natural segue for this, so it's just a compilation of someone's confessionals that I thought was funny, and so now we're gonna watch it.
All right, hi America. It's an off day, but the game keeps chugging.
No. Hi America. Hey America.
Hello, America. I don't have a vegetable, but I do have a plant.
Hello, America and Canada. I keep forgetting about Canada. It's me and baby cauliflower. Say hello. Hello. Hi, quarantine friends. We're switching to fruit. Hi, good day. I have some sugar plum grape tomatoes. Hello. Hi. Was that sensual? Hey, Corn Folk. Look at this big piece of bok choy that I got. Look. It's about the size of my head.
Jerry, are you a vegan?
Yes, and so is Deanna.
I didn't know that about Deanna. I love that. Okay, so before we do our auctioning an item, we have a fan favorite. I do want to show a compilation of the audition videos, and then I have a little surprise for you guys. And if you don't see your audition video in the highlight reel we made, that's because you didn't give us permission, and we want to make sure to respect those boundaries. Okay, let me open this.
It's Lisa M. If you don't know who I am, then you don't look at the chats in the Quarantine Island show.
I'm great at challenges. I actually used to design challenges. There was this teen version of Survivor called Endurance back in the day, and I would play it with my Beanie Babies in my bedroom, and I would design very cool challenges. Trust me.
What you know about me is that I'm actually allergic to not playing the Quarantine Island. I know, it's awful, trust me. Symptoms include watching another season, not winning, it's awful.
I actually played another Survivor Quarantine, and they called me a goat, which really rubbed me the wrong way. So I'm trying to find as many opportunities to kind of rid myself of that label.
Am scared to apply for this, but wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone. I might succeed, I might fall flat on my face. Smirch.
Yes, I am currently sitting in a tree, and yes, there are mosquitoes everywhere because it just rained. So I'm committed to this. I'm in it to win it.
I think I'm really well suited to the game of Survivor because as a homeschooler, I learned really quickly how to like bridge information gaps to kind of figure out what's going on culturally.
So I feel like this right now is the perfect time for me to fulfill my lifelong dream of being on a reality show because I've just never had the time to do it. And now is perfect.
I have a fantasy football Survivor League that I would show you the trophy of, but famously I have lost every year because I keep drafting women.
Oh, my occupation. I'm a fired kindergartner teacher. Okay, that's it. Bye.
I have 6 sisters, and I'm smack dab in the middle, meaning needing attention is in my DNA. I also self-identify as a Zillennial, Gen Z, and Millennial. Let me spell it out for you. I would say I'm a Parvati Sun, Sandra Rising, and Eric Moon, meaning I have an anyone but me mentality, will ride for the girls and the gays, and will probably make an idiotic mistake that will lead to my demise.
Woo! We loved Deanna's memorable audition video. Deanna, do people know about your miniature collection?
No, but I will show it because I'm very proud of it.
Show everyone your miniature collection.
I have about 40 little mini supermarket thingies, of all different products. I do collect a lot of tiny things, including that microphone, which I love.
We adore so much. Okay, so before we do fan favorite, as I told jury, I challenged myself last night to see if I knew a fun fact about each of you, and I'm gonna run through this really quick. Akash, he's a sweet, sweet man who's not here. He can rap, he can beatbox, he loves coffee, and he's also in love with my husband. Lisa has recently renovated her backyard. She's a huge anime fan, and my husband famously loves Lisa so much and voted for her for fan favorite. Brett is a TikTok star moving to Atlanta. Is that correct? Moving to Atlanta? Yes. Okay. And he has an embarrassing video on the internet now where he tried to say the same sound for a minute straight and it did not work successfully. Gray is an Enneagram 4 with me. She also loves and lives in rompers, and she wears the best pink eyeliner ever. Corey helpfully helped me out with this one because we mostly talked game. He played French horn and bass clarinet, and he used to play soccer. Ryan is not a musicals fan. Did I make that up, or was that correct? Because the Chicago thing, I feel like we talked about Chicago.
Yeah, I skipped that part of Gay 101.
Okay, so he skipped that part of Gay 101. He moved out to LA and he was a director's assistant, and he will soon be a star. Cole is going to play soccer in college. He wants to be a physical therapist, and he is now my unofficial child. Emily's father was a pastor. She owns yellow earrings, and she has 2 siblings. Let's see, Charlotte, too many fun facts about Charlotte. But she has a twin brother who went to a different school from her in New York. She wrote on Perfect Harmony, and where did I put this? Oh, she likes to abbreviate words. She tried to tell me that GP means, what was it? General plan, good plan?
GP means game plan. And
no, it means general practitioner.
None of you got that. You all gave me shit for that. GP is, what's the GP tomorrow, guys?
No, it's general practitioner. Okay, Allison is used to do improvisation. She also made me laugh each time where she would guess each clue was Chicago, even though the Chicago clue was long past. And she has the same wedding anniversary as me and my husband. She also has the cutest cat. Like, truly ask her for photos. She has the most photogenic cat ever. Cam's middle name is Haley, and when he was a child, he choked at Hooters for his birthday. Is that correct? And also through the course of this game, you lost 8 pounds, 10 pounds from stress. Deanna has her miniature figures. She works at Anthropologie. She lives in DC, and Charlotte is very obsessed with her. Jerry is vegan, and he's 22, which is mind-boggling to me. I feel like he's like so mature and past all of that. He is also in love with my husband and trying to steal him away from me. Erin grew up in an Illinois suburb outside of Chicago. She worked at a bakery, and she used to edit videos for a skydiving company, which was very fascinating to learn. Casey is a teacher. She has 5 tattoos. She's from Memphis. She went to Harding College with Carter and Britt, and she has never seen Star Wars. Jake has a younger brother who just graduated college. You have 2 brothers, right? You have 2 brothers and a sister? 2 brothers and a sister. Oh, I forgot to mention that Jerry doesn't know Reese Witherspoon's oeuvre. And Jake... And Jake has a Survivor podcast, amongst many other things. Another fun fact about him is Jake's brother, Paul, voted for Jerry for fan favorite, and I love that so much, that he did not vote for Jake. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to bring on season 1 and 2 fan favorites, Kat and Becca. Please come on, Kat and Becca. Hi. I think you guys are muted. You got to unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Okay, we're using 2 different computers. Does that work better?
Is that better? I can hear you now.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
So do you want to start with what's been going on Cat Chat?
Oh yeah, sure. So Cat Chats was something that we added this season. It has been the light of my life and my favorite part of getting to be part of this community. We did the auction through Cat Chats, just you guys know about that. But I just wanted to share the final total. The final total that we were able to raise and donate to 5 organizations was $1,100. And I wanted to pull up the 5 organizations for you in case folks forgot which ones we did. So we did Brave Space Alliance, Feeding Black Futures, Glitz, the Homeless Black Trans Women Fund, and the Queer BIPOC Mental Health Fund. So we were able to donate $1,100 among all of those, which was amazing. So thank you all so much for that.
So one of the things that we said that we were going to add to that is auctioning off the Immunity painting. And so just so people know, that is going to go to the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center. And what they do is they strengthen the mission to end violence against Native women and vision of restoring sovereignty for tribes to hold perpetrators accountable. They are committed to providing national leadership in this work by lifting up the collective voices of grassroots advocates in tribal communities. So we're going to be jumping to the chat as far as if anybody is interested in helping to support them by bidding on painting. So this is the painting. You may remember that it was voted by fans as far as when we said, what do you want the idol to be? People said a boob. One boob. Yep, so it was just one boob. Thank you so much. What size is it? It's a double D. And so this painting is going to be up for auction. What we're thinking is that people can just go right into the chat if they are interested in bidding on it.
We will start the bidding at $30.
$30, geez.
Okay.
If it's just one, then isn't it just a D? Thank you, Ian. We'll talk about that afterwards as far as how bra sizes work.
$50 from me right here. Let's start the bidding off strong here.
$50. Okay, Maddie Ulster, $75. I see that first. Gabby, $100.
Keep it coming,
okay,
friends.
Lisa's donating. Oh fuck. Okay, $110.
Aaron, keep driving them up. Keep driving them up, Aaron.
Aaron, give us your $100.
$120. I spent $300. I can spend $300.
Gabby also got another painting, right?
Yes.
And also, Gabby, just so you know, yours is a work in progress. It's going to say, hey, how everybody, and it's sea creatures. So it's not done yet, but that's on its way.
You're welcome.
So 200 from Bria. Oh, I see 200 from Bria Wallace.
Incredible.
Fantastic.
I'm wondering where Keith Krasnogor is.
No, he's been talking about it for days. I'm going to call him right now.
Okay, because he was definitely wanting to bid on this.
Hey, boobs and sea creatures. Yep,
That's
absolutely.
correct, Cole. Good call.
Yeah, that's what Cole knows, boobs and sea creatures.
It's an homage to Cole. Okay, so we had 200 was our last
From Bria.
bid.
Yep, thank you, Bria, by the way. That's incredible. So 200 from Bria, that is going to be going toward an incredible cause. Thank you very, very
Bria
much.
Wallace was my family visit, just so everyone knows.
Oh,
Okay, fantastic.
Oh, I'm gonna act as though this
I
is
can get whatever
mine.
raised. Okay, so Diana is also saying that whatever is raised is going to be matched. So that's incredible. So even though it's going to be 200, it's going to be matched to 400. So thank you so much from Diana. Diana is Brian from season 2.
Oh, my dad's, he didn't know. He's in it now.
And Keith coming in at 225.
And
Fantastic.
you're correct, Gabby. This is wishful thinking. I'm not even an A cup. Pleasant hand.
230 from Bria.
230. All right, love that. Thank you, Bria. 230.
Wow,
oh
fantastic.
my goodness.
230.
This is amazing.
I agree that small boobs rule. I totally agree with that. Kat and I have opposite tastes, and our bodies reflect what we are interested in, which is perfect. Great. So we've got 230. I think I'm going to do a going once, going twice. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So going once.
Are you good, Dad?
Dad, are you good?
Twice for 230.
My dad, Keith.
Sold for $230 to Bria.
Bria
That is
Wallace.
incredible.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
That's amazing. We will send that your way. Fantastic.
Yeah, Bria, if you don't mind, Charlotte has our number, so feel free to, oh my gosh, I keep getting Venmos. Okay,
Yes,
thanks.
this is amazing. So we have more stuff coming
Bria,
in.
go ahead and get our number from Charlotte, and then you can figure out how to send us the money that
Yeah.
way. And then Diana,
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
Diana's phone number is actually the first phone number I memorized before my even home number. So anyway, this is also just such a great testament to, how about the other boob? We'll talk. We'll have a conversation, Keith. We'll discuss the other boob after this call. So this is just a testament to how supportive the fans have been this entire season. And so, we figured it was also it would make sense to go into announcing who the fan favorite is. Kelsey, do you want to first share who the top contenders were for fan favorite?
I do, and can I reveal how much money we raised for fan favorite alone? Okay, so fan favorite, not including any of the audition or auction stuff, we raised $580. People voting on fan favorites. Wild, amazing, testament to how amazing you guys all are. The top 4 people were Jake, Jerry, Charlotte, and Allison were the top 4 contenders.
We'll do a golf clap for them. Thank
Fantastic.
you.
So now we're going to pretend like we're presenters right now.
Yes.
To be a fan favorite means not just thinking about the strategy of the game, but also thinking about the enjoyment of the fans. Kat, don't lift that up. It can be really distracting.
Oh, okay.
Yep, please don't.
Okay.
As former fan favorites, Kat and I know that a fan favorite must be entertaining, committed, and Kat, they can be hot, but that's not a requirement.
Yes, it is.
No, it's really not. So
Okay.
just something to think about. Okay. Also, it's just you're literally flirting with her like right next to me. And I
No.
feel like this has been something that we've had to work through, and I like prefer that you not do it right now. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Becca. Sorry.
Jesus Christ. I thought going home with 2 idols and an advantage in my pocket when I played was going to be the worst thing, and this is actually the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me.
So sorry.
Okay, so let's actually just announce who the fan favorite is. So congratulations to fan favorite
Charlotte. Congratulations, Charlotte. Fans voted for, let me show the certificate. I have it. And it says why people voted for you. Hold on. Here it's coming. It's not coming. Okay. Oh wait. It's okay. Here we go. Share with this one. Okay, so for blowing up the game with big moves, her emotional transformation, and shamelessly flirting with everyone who played the game. Charlotte, not all your fellow contestants know, but your confessionals were very moving, very powerful. I think you were very vulnerable in them, and I hope that you do feel a transformation from playing this game, because I know that contestants and producers felt that from you, and yeah, we're very proud of you. So do you want to thank your fans for winning? I don't know.
I'm very flattered. I'm flattered by that presentation. I'm sorry if I'm causing a rift in your guys' relationship.
Told you it actually kind of works for us.
Yeah, for her.
Great, awesome. Happy to be a pawn in your pseudosexual games.
Anytime you want to come in, just let us know.
Awesome. I do just want to say that the flirting was not shameless. It was full of shame. And my mom texted me today and was like, I voted for you for fan favorite. And I was like, cool, it's fully not going to happen. So don't get your hopes up, because I like to manage her expectations. So I really am. Oh, that's my mom. Iconic. And I entered.
That's my girl. Y'all great.
My mom famously has loved Jerry since the beginning, and I think almost voted for Jerry for fan favorite.
Your brother voted for Jerry, I think. Oh no, your brother voted for you, right? Jake's brother and someone
My
else.
brother voted for Jerry.
I know.
I feel like you know that I need to feel that my brother voted for me.
He did vote for you. I'm sorry.
He better have voted for you. This family sticks together.
Well, congratulations, Char. We loved watching you play, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Wait, before, let me ask my producers to please turn on their cameras. Marissa, Becca's already here, Carter, and Britt, if you guys can please turn on your videos. I'd love for everyone and the fans to thank them. We truly could not do this game without the producers. They help keep us sane. They do an incredible job. They're so creative and thoughtful, and we love them so much. We are one big family. And thank you all fans for watching. It's been an incredible season, truly. And thank you to our contestants for playing, for giving yourselves to this game, for revealing yourself, for connecting with each other. We hope that you all stay in touch with us. We love you all very deeply. And yeah, thank you. I'm not going to cry. I already cried earlier, so I'm not going to cry tonight. But truly just the biggest love to you guys all. And we'll see you next time. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? But love to you guys all, and congrats, Aaron, again. Bye.